Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 5 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. With approximately 3 billion pizzas sold in the United States each year, Power Pizzeria is differentiating itself in the market with a better-for-you pizza made with healthier ingredients. We're meeting with the founder, EJ Martinez of Power Pizzeria, and that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. Get 3 months of free advertising when you sign up for our 1-year package. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 5 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today with approximately 3 billion pizzas sold in the United States each year. Power Pizzeria is differentiating itself in the market with a better-for-you pizza made with healthier ingredients. We're meeting with the founder, EJ Martinez of Power Pizzeria. Hey, EJ, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Doing good, Marty. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well today, EJ. Thanks for coming on the show. You know, you probably hear this all the time, but I'm the biggest pizza fan in the world. And when I heard about what you guys were doing, I said, we have to have you on the show. So just very, very excited. Well, I'd like to ask our guest, where are you calling from this morning, EJ?
I'm calling from Miami, Florida today.
Ah, great. How's the weather down there today?
it's sort of nice and hot.
I guess it's getting hot already, right? Miami's just such a wonderful place, though, isn't it? It's just I try to get down to Miami, once a year, and it's such a fantastic place. But yeah, I guess it is probably getting hot down there now. You have such an amazing story. I mean, when I read it, I was really inspired. I teach for Kaplan University, and I told a lot of my younger students to take a look at this story because I figured that it would certainly inspire them. Did you want to talk about what motivated you to open your first Power Pizzeria restaurant at such a young age, EJ?
Yeah, definitely. Basically, I was studying at the University of Miami at the time, and I've always been very entrepreneurial in spirit, and just had a great idea and figured I'd give it a shot. So I put the whole plan together while I was at school at UM. Went to the Business Resource Center there and put together a little business plan and just started going, building the first store, opened the first store a couple months before I graduated, and just felt I had a really good concept with a healthier pizza. And I'm a big pizza fan as well, and so is pretty much everybody else. So I figured there was a need for a healthier pizza, so just decided to give it a whirl, basically.
That's fantastic. How about the history of the company, EJ? I mean, how you guys got it started franchising, or why you started franchising, and maybe a little bit about that.
Basically, we opened our first store in 2004. Unfortunately, it went miserably since I had no idea how to make a pizza. I'm not one of those stories of a dishwasher that moved its way up and up, in the ladder. So our first store was a struggle. We ended up closing that store, and I took a step back, regrouped, and did everything I could to learn about the restaurant industry. Went to all the pizza expos and, just took a real good step back and learned the business. And then when I felt I was comfortable, we opened up our second store. That one was much more successful as I applied everything that I had learned from the first store. And then, from the course of 2005 to 2011, we opened 4 stores and just recently started franchising in January of this year is when we launched the franchise program at the Franchise Expo in Miami.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's interesting because, it's really the whole benefit of franchising, I guess, isn't it? Is that you don't have to duplicate the founder's mistakes, the first time around. There's been a lot of, great franchises that made mistakes in the beginning. They tried it the second time, and they tried different things. And so it seems like franchising, the timing for you guys to start franchising was right. And it sounds like you guys had some success down in Miami, too, as far as the expo went. It sounds like it went pretty well down there, too.
Yeah, the expo went great. We got about 150 leads from the show.
Wow, that's great.
One deal. And we're still talking with about 5 other groups from the show. So it went pretty well for our first show. We're very excited about it.
That's fantastic. What do you say to people when they came up to your booth, EJ, and they said, what do you guys do? What makes you – I guess the question always comes up, what makes you guys different from everyone else that's out there?
Basically the ingredients we put in our pizzas. We blend whey protein in all our dough. We use part skim cheese, all natural ingredients as our toppings. We have a nice menu of wraps and salads and multigrain pastas. And it's basically giving the consumer the same indulgence that they look for in a pizza. Everybody usually eats pizza when they're either in a good mood, a bad mood, sitting with their friends or their family. So we want everybody to have that indulgence and satisfaction of a pizza. We just make it a little healthier for them. Good thing at the show was that we were actually making pizzas at the show, so people's initial thoughts were like, oh, it's healthier, it may not taste that great, we just give them a slice of pizza and say, here you go, try it out, and let us know what you think. And people love the pizza. You get the same satisfaction as any other pizza. In my opinion, it's better than any pizza that's out there, but, most of the people down here in Miami feel the same way, so everything's going pretty well.
Wow. I can't wait till you guys come up here to Easton, Pennsylvania, because I think you guys will be a real hit up here. I've always wondered what took so long for someone to come out with this type of concept, like a great tasting pizza that is good for you at the same time, So I think that's fantastic. What kind of franchisees are you looking for, EJ? Do they have to have special types of characteristics or special backgrounds?
Not really. We're just looking for people that, share the same passion as we do, selling delicious, healthier pizzas. And prior restaurant experience is not necessary, since that would be a little hypocritical of me to ask for, since I started the concept without any. We just want people that have managed people before. As you probably know, it's the people business, not the pizza business. So some sort of experience in management is what we look for, and just people that share our energy. I'm a young guy, so I'm pretty laid back and easygoing. So we want, people with the same values as we have.
Yeah, this is we've had other pizza franchises on the show, throughout the, 5 years that we've been doing the show. And it's always interesting, when you talk about pizza, though, it really is kind of like a fun concept. I guess if you think about it, you know what I mean? It's not like a transmission franchise or anything like that. You're kind of, pretty much putting a smile on people's face. Pizza is just one of those fun concepts, if you think about it, you're going out and getting something to eat, and especially if it's good for you. I think that's fantastic. What would I guess you say, like a typical day like for someone who might be considering something like this? They said, what, this, the numbers look great. I think you guys have something here. What's like a typical day like for someone who doesn't have like experience in this type of business?
Well, pretty much the first step would be to learn the business, and I think we do a pretty good job of teaching that. Since I had to learn everything the hard way, I do a good job of training, and our mistakes is what I felt. There's a lot of people who want to open up a pizza restaurant. It's like, look, I already made the mistakes. I made those $1 million mistakes, and I'm going to make sure I do everything that I can to make sure you don't make those mistakes. So once they get past the training, it's just going out and meeting people. We want our franchisees and store managers out on the street, just meeting the local business owners, residents, the community, just getting out there and having people try the product, because a big part of our marketing is getting our product in people's hands. So we do a lot of giveaways, and it's just, making sure the store is being operated the way it should be. But the primary thing that we want our franchisees to do is just be out there and just talking about the concept and, sharing what we do and bringing smiles to people's faces, like you say.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's and it's interesting. When you look at the numbers, I didn't realize what the numbers were up to. I think they said in our intro when we were talking about you guys, and we've been promoting it the last couple of weeks. There's like 3 billion pizzas sold in the United States each year. That number's phenomenal, isn't it? When you think about it, that's just incredible. You just say, my God, and then multiply it by, what's the average pizza pie go for? I don't know, $8, $9. It's $1 billion industry, though, isn't it?
Yep, everybody loves pizza. It's amazing how many pizza restaurants there are out there, and everybody does well. So, everybody eats pizza regardless of what age they are. So it is a great industry.
It's true, and it's a repeat sale too. Isn't it, EJ? Once you have that customer loyalty, you know what I mean. It's I know. For us, for my family, even growing up as a kid, we always ate pizza on Fridays. It was just like typical. So I've been doing it, since 44 years old now. Most of my life, eating pizza. So it does. It just becomes part of your life. So you got that nice repeat sale factor, which is great. And again, what I love most about you guys is you truly are doing something different. It's in my parents' neighborhood. They recently had a pizza place that opened not too far from where they live, but it's been a little slow there. But we went in there and they weren't really like doing anything to differentiate themselves from everyone else that's out there. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see that you guys have such a strong niche in the market. What's the training like once someone decides, they say, you know what, I want to go forward with this? What happens after that?
Basically, they come down to Miami for 3 weeks. They do a pretty intense training down here. It's a good mix of in the classroom and our office setting. We teach them all the back of house aspects of the business, and just talk. I tell them about all the mistakes that I made, everything that we've tried, and what's worked, what hasn't worked, and that's a pretty intense 2-week training. And then they do about another week in our stores learning how to make pizzas and dispatching drivers and just the overall operation of the restaurant. Then they go back to wherever they're from and they look for sites. We help them with their sites, help them out with their construction, guide them through that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're getting ready to open, we go to their site and we're there for about 2 weeks. That's our minimum training. One of the things that we're promoting is that I'm very hands-on, and I am extending, extra weeks into that training since I want our first franchisees to be extremely successful. The franchisees will be dealing with me personally and with 2 other of our managers that have helped me grow the concept from the beginning. So we go above and beyond any other franchise concept just because, the main reason is that our first franchisees will determine the success of our concept as a whole. As you know, if your first 10 franchisees don't do as well as they should have, your concept pretty much stops right there. So we're very hands-on. Our first couple franchisees have been very impressed. I mean, I was pulling permits with one of our franchisees the other day, and he's like, I can't believe you're sitting here next to me in the building department.
Right.
That's what I'm here for, and, this is what I struggled with, so I'm going to make sure you don't spend 3 months pulling permits for your new store. So, the training is great, and our support is just, doesn't exist like ours.
Yeah, it's a great example, that you're talking about. It is, I think rare sometimes, to get that opportunity to work directly with a CEO or president of a company. It was funny, we were talking, it was a couple shows ago, I guess, and again, not to pick on Subway, but I think they're up to it's 34,000 franchises now. But their franchisees, I think a lot of times they go by numbers, franchisee 10,900 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like you'd hate to be called a number, you know what I mean, instead of addressing the franchisee by name, So it's I think there's a lot to be said about that, to work with someone like yourself directly. I think there's a lot of franchisees out there. And, it probably gives them the opportunity to help grow the business as well, I guess, EJ, doesn't it? Because perhaps, they might have ideas as the franchise starts to grow, We've referenced a lot of times on the show, some of the best ideas sometimes come from franchisees. I think we were talking about the fillet of fish last week for McDonald's, came from a franchisee, so who knows, there might be some interesting ideas that come from your new franchisees as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and we're very open, we have open ears. I am not one of those persons that thinks he knows everything. We just put a new menu item in our menu that came from a franchisee prospect. There
you go.
That is, hey, you have croutons on your salads, why don't you make the croutons out of your protein dough? So it's a great idea.
Wow.
3 days later, we had a system in place, and we had it done. So, it's definitely true, and we're out there to make sure they're successful. I mean, I keep thinking back in my mind how lost I felt when I opened my first store, and, those nights where you come home at 3 o'clock in the morning just figuring out what did I get myself into. And I want to make sure that no franchisee, regardless if he's number, 10,005, gets that feeling with us, because it is a hard feeling and it is a big commitment, and a lot of faith that they're putting into our concept. So, we're going to do everything we try to make sure that everybody always knows what they're doing and doesn't have that feeling of, well, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's when I in my college days, EJ, I worked for a little pizzeria. I don't even know if it's in business anymore. But in those days, basically someone wanted a piece of pizza. You'd have the old cash registers and things like that. Has technology played a bigger role, in this business today? Is technology actually utilized in your type of business?
No, definitely. I couldn't imagine how we do the things we do in our store without our POS system.
Yeah, very powerful. That's true. Your story was inspirational, too. I think, I remember reading your story, and, it kind of reminded me, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Jerry Maguire, but I guess you had, this epiphany. I think you were coming home one night, was it from a DJ gig or something like that, and you have the over listening to someone, I guess, complaining about pizza. I don't know the exact story, but I thought it was a great story. And I think you had the business plan written by, it was 5 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning. And I just thought it was one of those great entrepreneurial stories when I read it. I said, this one's going to go down in the history books one day.
I hope so, but, I used to be a DJ down here, a DJ a lot on South Beach, and Yeah. One night I went to grab pizza. I mean, pretty much every night I'd grab a slice of pizza on my way home, and I was feeling a little, dubby at the time because I wasn't sleeping much and I was eating a lot of pizza, and then there were some pretty girls standing in front of me in line saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm cheating on my diet. I'm gonna have to run 10 miles tomorrow." It's like, gee, somebody needs to do a healthier pizza place, and that's where it came from.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's just timing. It is something. What advice would you give to I'm the faculty advisor for a group called the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization, EJ, and we have a lot of them listening to the show today. What advice would you give to them specifically? Because they are, I would say, a younger audience. They're typically like in their 20s, and a lot of them do want to go into their own business. And I guess sometimes because they're so young, they don't know where to begin. They say, well, I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that. What would you say to them?
Just take a step back initially. I know that entrepreneurial spirit is just go with it, but everything luckily worked out for ourselves. But take a step back and make sure you really know your industry and what you're getting into. Because I just jumped into the pizza thing. I mean, I studied marketing, so I knew how to advertise it. I just didn't know how to make a pizza and deliver it there to support my marketing efforts. So, the calls came in because that's what I knew how to do. I just didn't know how to support the calls. So really just, dive into your industry, whether it be through an internship or, had I gotten a job as a pizza maker in Domino's, that would have helped me, immensely. But I was just so excited about the concept that I just, did it. But, just take a step back and do as much research as you can. These expos that are out there are really good. I mean, I went to, I don't even know how many pizza expos, and just sit there, listen, read books. I mean, just really make sure you have everything in mind before you get started, because it is expensive. Your little mistakes do end up costing you.
It's true. No, absolutely. Is there, speaking of real estate, what kind of location are you looking for your franchisees, EJ? Is there a specific location that you kind of suggest, and how much space is required to open up one of these pizzerias?
We basically look for about anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 square feet.
Okay.
Our biggest challenge in Miami is that real estate is very expensive down here.
Yes.
So we are in, strip centers, power centers, like we call them, with a nice mix of either grocery store, some major anchors that help you generate all the traffic. We have a real good real estate model that, counts the average cars that go in. We basically look for around minimum of 50,000 cars driving in front of our store daily. So, one of the things that I found is while we've been looking at other sites for other franchisees more up north, I was like, geez, this is so much cheaper than it is in Miami. So I'm sure the model will change as we, go into other areas where we can afford to maybe get a freestanding building. But right down here, we're a little limited as to where we can put our stores.
That's interesting. So what are your plans for the future then, EJ? I mean, I guess if you had a crystal ball and you said, where do you see yourself in 5 years with the business, what would you say?
Basically, our plan is to just open 50 stores in the next 5 years. We're not one of those concepts that want to go out and open up 1,000 stores in the next 5 years.
Right.
We want to take it slow and make sure that our franchisees are doing well and make sure that we can handle our franchisees. I've always said that I want to be able to take every single call that a franchisee puts into me. So we want to make sure that we don't grow too fast to where we become, one of those concepts where the franchisees are by number. So we'll go slow. We want to sign about 5 to 10 stores in the next year, but if we could have 50 stores by the end of 5 years, we're happy. So that's where we see ourselves.
That's great. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee, EJ? Any websites they can go to? Any numbers that they should call?
Yes, they can go to our website, powerpizzeria.com.
Okay,
on the site, there's an info request form. They fill it out. I'll get an email to my phone, and I'll call them within the next hour. It's basically how it works.
That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, and that's important. You know what I mean? That someone get back to you. Because we've heard of stories too of sometimes other businesses not getting back to you for weeks. You know what I mean? So I think that's always a bad sign. But the next time I'm down in Miami, I'm gonna come look you guys up. And I'm dying to try your pizza. So I'm looking forward to meeting you in the near future and having you back on the show again. We'd love to have you guys back as you guys continue to grow, EJ.
Definitely.
Thanks, and it's our pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, EJ.
Thank you, Marty.
We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. And today's podcast is being sponsored by the guys at Diamond Financial Services, and if you're looking to finance your franchise, just simply click the sponsorship button below of Diamond Financial, and you'll get some great information. Today's podcast comes from Jim Cohen, who is the founder of Franchise Perfection. Jim had a great quote. He had actually a bunch of great quotes when we had him on the show. He's been involved in franchising almost 25 years now. He said most people know what they like, but they don't necessarily know what would be the best franchise opportunity for them. In other words, we've referenced this on the show before, there's many people that like Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm a big fan of Dunkin' Donuts, but it doesn't necessarily mean I make a great franchisee. And the same thing applies to Subway or McDonald's or whatever that may be. So listen to what Jim had to say. I thought he gave some great advice to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise.
Fits in with your particular situation and what your desires are.
Interesting.
Then you have kind of a recipe for success.
Right. Do you find a lot of people really don't know what they want, Jim, or like they think they have an idea, like they say to you, they'll approach you and say, I want to buy a Dunkin' Donuts, and the only reason they want to buy a Dunkin' Donuts is because they like the coffee or the donuts, but do you get a lot of that where people really don't know what match they'd be appropriate for?
Yeah, no, great point. I mean, most people know what they like.
Right.
But they don't necessarily know what would be a good business. And they say to I hear all kinds of things. I mean, one of the things I hear all the time is, I don't care, I just want to make some money.
Right.
Right. You hear that, and then you hear other things is I really want to do something special. I want to help people. Right. Or I want to use my expertise or my skills and get involved in a business that's going to make me feel great about myself. So everybody has different sort of goals and aspirations or visions of how they see themselves in a business opportunity.
Right.
And what I try to do is identify the key elements of what's important to them and the key elements of their particular situation, and then match them up with something that makes sense, or at least has some of the key elements, and then they can investigate those opportunities. It's a process. It's not an event.
Right, absolutely.
I have a lot of people who say to you, "I've never even thought of that."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I never thought of that again. And then I start thinking about it, and then all these questions start happening. And the reality is that sometimes it takes a process of investigating a number of opportunities before you identify the opportunity that makes the most amount of sense for you. And one of the things I've learned over the years is the people who do investigate thoroughly are the ones that have the most control of their destiny, because they have the most amount of information and have answered the most amount of questions. So due diligence is a very important part of being successful as a franchisee.
Yeah, I would agree.
We've stressed that a lot on previous shows. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good point, Jim.
Yeah, so and some people don't know the questions to ask, but they learn as they go through the process, and that's what I try to do, is coach them and find the questions, because ultimately what matters is them getting involved in a business opportunity or a franchise opportunity that they feel really good about and that fits their particular set of circumstances. And financial is a very big one. I look for people to really have enough capital to be able to fund that business and enough backup capital to be able to support their family.
Interesting.
Right. We know, Jim, that's what I do. So a lot of our loans are startups, and we're pre-qualifying people. People need to know where they stand, if they can get financing, always having that cash reserve money, working capital. Maybe a spouse is keeping and having some outside income coming in. So, that's my everyday life, going over that scenario with people.
Right, and that's an important aspect. And I know you guys were talking about the UFOC earlier. It's not necessarily one of the items in the UFOC is what kind of backup money do you have to support your family, or how are you going to support your family. It really talks about the business opportunity, not necessarily about the support of the family. And I've seen a lot of people get in trouble early because they don't have that backup. So I pretty much go through that process with them and make sure. I get a lot of calls of resales from franchise people who are in the business and are interested in possibly reselling the franchise. And the most common problem is that they run out of working capital.
Right.
And that's something that you just got to really consider. And I can't stress enough about how important that is. And I know, Dawn, you and I have talked about that. That's a critical important thing when coming up with that business plan to finance a business.
Right.
To make sure that there's enough to support that family over 6, 8, 12, 18 months it might take to
before profitability. Yeah,
right, exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah,
exactly. So,
what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur, Jim, looking to buy a franchise? You've kind of mentioned a few things so far. I mean, what would you feel about the biggest main point is?
Know yourself. One of the things that I've learned is the willingness to work hard is obviously a must-have in order to succeed as a franchisee. Unfortunately, hard work is only part of the picture. Not everybody is suitable to even be a franchisee.
Right.
To me, franchisees represent the middle ground between employees and entrepreneurs. I call them frantrepreneurs.
I've never heard that before. That's interesting.
Yeah. So the vast majority of people, most successful as an employee. True entrepreneurs are few and far between. Those are the ones that are willing. They have a vision and they're willing to take all-out risk.
Right.
And they don't really want to hear anybody else's opinion in most cases. They really see this, an entrepreneur, and they just really want to go for it.
Right.
So they take out all-out risk. They put everything on the table. For entrepreneurs are a little different. They want a tried and proven concept, and they're willing to follow established procedures to run that business.
Right.
I look at a entrepreneur as one who's willing to accept a measured risk.
Right.
They do not want to reinvent the wheel. They want to go into a proven business model that allows them to bring their capital, their work, and their particular life experience into that model and make it successful on a shorter runway.
That's the perfect match, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to starting out on their own.
Right.
That's too risky.
Exactly.
That requires too much learning curve and too much capital to have for that learning curve, because essentially a learning curve is mistake, success, mistake,
right.
success. So
right. The failure rates are so much higher with a non-franchise startup, obviously.
I thought that was great advice from Jim as far as when Don asked what advice would you also give to an aspiring entrepreneur. So once again, thanks for listening to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, and we'd love to hear your feedback on this particular podcast, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising.